Okay, so welcome to lesson 2 of the sampling with reason. In lesson 1 we added a mixer so that we could mix all of our sounds together and control the volume of them. We added a sampler so that we could add our own sound. We took a sound off YouTube, we put that audio from that video onto one key of the piano and we trimmed it. We perfected where that sound started so that when I pressed that one key, the middle key of the piano, I got the recording. We then looked at the tempo. We found that by playing around with the tempo of the computer software, we found that the original drummer was playing at 101 beats per minute. We made sure it was on loop so that then the 4 beats in the bar, by zooming in here, we could zoom in and watch it play those four beats. And then so that's our one bar, and it's perfectly chopped and we've got the right speed going. The problem is because it's got a voice in it, we wouldn't be able to just repeat that over and over again for 4 minutes as a remix because it would just get too tiresome having that same vocal in it. You can cut that vocal out by cutting the length of the note being held down in half and starting it again here with the pencil. So I've now got half of the bar and then half of the bar playing again. That creates a different kind of track and a different kind of sound, but also shows me that I don't really have much of an option if I'm always starting the recording on that same double bass drum. Boom, boom. I can play around with it, but I'm limited in the sort of drum beat I can create. What I really need is the 2 main drums of a drum beat, which is that bass kick and also the snare, which is on the 2nd and the 4th beat. If I play you the original again, listen out for the beat that happens on the 2nd beat, which is the snare drum. That one there. Bang. That 2nd drum is our snare drum, and that's our main 2 drums of any drum beat. I can show you using a drum machine. So on here, I loaded up a drum machine, and on the drum number 1 is the bass drum, and drum number 2 is the snare drum. And I can use the bass drum to show you the 4 beats of the bar. So here's beat 1, 2, 3, and 4 of that bar, and I've muted the sampler here, so we can hear just the drum machine. There's our 4 beats of the bar. The other main drum in any drum beat is the snare drum. And you can see my drum machine nicely shows you those 2 drums and where they're appearing. But James Brown's drummer is not playing such a regular 4/4 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's actually doing a lot of other drumming in between those, but his main beat is a hip-hop style beat, which moves the 3rd beat, 1, 2, 3, to 3.5 instead of on the beat 3. Because with every beat you have on the beat and off the beat, the 2nd half. So he's using 1, 2 on the snare, 3.5 on the kick, and 4 for the snare. And that's the other main style of drum beat in most popular music. The 2 main types are 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3.5, 4. If I play you 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll recognize Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. But the other type has that extra weight. Before 3 you get 3.5. Which is what a lot of funk and hip-hop and even jungle drum and bass music uses, that type of thing at a different speed, like 160. So that's the positioning of our main drums. What I've now got to quickly show you is how we get James Brown's snare drum to play with using the sampler. So I'm going to mute my drum machine, go up to here, and I can actually duplicate all of the work I've done with that trimmed sample. So I can duplicate what's known as a zone on the piano, and with this second I can very carefully click the actual block rather than one of the zone extender squares, like that, making sure that that's both back on C. And I can move that zone up to the next note. Now I'm going to use the next white note on the piano here. You can see here are the white notes, which annoyingly are dark blue on here, but the next main note on the piano here is, so I've moved the zone up to there, and that will now mean that on my sampler I just have 2 copies on those 2 white notes of the piano. But on this new one, I can actually change the percentage of the recording where it starts for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 4 beats on that new note so I can hear it playing. I'll slow it down again. And now I can move the start position of the recording. I'm getting the snare drum now, and it's nearly right. So 2.1% is nearly at the beginning of that snare drum. 2.2, very close. 2.4. right on it. So I've now moved the start position to 2.4% of the trim, meaning I've now got a snare to play with. I could now write out either 1, 2, 3, 4 using the drummer, or I could employ 3.5 style, which is what he's more like what he's playing. And now I can really start to create my own beats. And now I've got the kick and the snare, I can start to really cut out that vocal. That's different zones on a sampler from one sample by moving the start percentage of any other zone. Excellent.